Now, in Kenya, 11 critically endangered black rhinos have died after being moved to a reserve in the southern part of the country. Preliminary investigations pointed to salt poisoning as the rhinos tried to adapt to saltier water in their new home, according to the Kenyan Ministry of Tourism and Wildlife. As a result, it suspended the moving of other rhinos and said the surviving ones were being closely monitored.
Yes, Jerry, there are many accusations as to who's responsible for this fiasco. Meanwhile, there will remain less than 5,500 black rhinos in the world, all in Africa. It's a species in great danger of extinction. And in Asia, the horn is actually used for medical rituals. To give you an idea, 1 kg of rhino horn is traded for several tens of thousands of dollars on the black market in China and in Vietnam.
Philip Maruthi is a wildlife conservation expert from the Species Conservation African Wildlife Foundation in Nairobi, Kenya. He joins us now to weigh in on the story. A warm welcome to you, Philip. So we hear that an investigation into the 11 rhinos that died in the national park has been ordered. How huge of a loss is this to wildlife in Kenya? And what does it say about conservation in general, Philip?
Kenya is one of the range states for rhinos, and we have the most eastern black rhino. We have the largest population. So the death of these animals that were being translocated to Tsavo National Park, I would say is a big setback to rhino conservation and the wildlife in general. But I want to put it in perspective because translocation of animals, especially endangered species such as rhino, translocation is an important tool when you have a small population scattered all over, in more than 20 rhino sanctuaries. So the tool itself, the method is good, has been practiced a lot in rhino conservation, but something went wrong. So it is a setback. There are lessons to learn from it, but it will remain because our populations are scattered. Biological management or moving animals to either establish new populations or to boost existing ones.
The Kenyan government says it has adopted a new anti-poaching technique that involves sniffer dogs. Is this going to be enough to fight poaching?
It is not by itself enough. What we are doing at the African Wildlife Foundation is trying to we are working with the Kenya Wildlife Service to install those dogs, such as with Mombasa and Nairobi. But our outlook is much broader. We work at 3 prongs. We work on the ground, stop the killing, stop the poaching on the ground. That's the first thing one has to do. The trafficking has to be stopped, but you realize the animals are already dead anyway. So we have to stop the crime by putting in techniques such as dogs, such as prosecutorial training that we do. And then we have to look at the demand that drives the killing of the wildlife. So we adopt a multiple-prong approach.
One thing certain from what you say, and which everyone agree on, is that the crime has to be stopped. But there has been a debate over who perpetrates this illicit trade, whether it is poachers or buyers. Where do you think the fight should focus more on?
As I said, the fight has to address demand, which drives the poaching. As we are working with the canines for conservation, catching the traffickers and catching the poachers, there is the tracker dogs, and putting effort into increasing capacity for prosecution. The focus really must be understanding the chain of the crime, and then we must catch the kingpins. We must catch the big guys who drive this trade. This is the illegal wildlife trade. So catching the small guy is good, but you must then make a lot out of it. You must see what is the link. Who is paying the small guy who is poaching, say, in the Masai Mara or Tsavo? Who is buying? What are the nodes, the collecting centers? Are they in Nairobi? How is that connected to the demand in China or in Vietnam? So we must catch the kingpins, Remember, it's a crime, but it's an international crime that is connected all over the place. So by catching the kingpin would be a way to go. But also we must involve communities. We work with communities on the ground because they are the first entry points, really.